welcome the members. They will give the inaugural address. I'll just briefly introduce both of them and then they can take over. Is that the plan?
Live, right now, live, no?
That's it, sir. That's it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So 10 o'clock, sir. Yeah. Now, respected Central Council member, Agarwal sir, and our own Central Council member, Dayanava Sharma ji, and senior Pankaj Kumar Trivedi sir, and Bonu sir, and regional council members in their absentia, colleagues in managing committee, and senior members and the professional colleagues, very good morning and warm welcome to this today webinar on UDIN. Sir, first and foremost, I would like to thank our Central Council member Daya sir for accepting my request and organizing this webinar within very short period, not more than 2 days. And basically by understanding the ground realities and practical issues in UDIN amid of bank audit. Friends, we received a lot of queries, clarifications regarding UDIN, and the eminent speakers are here who are instrumental in designing the concept of UDIN. And sir, Ranjit sir and Daya sir, we as a managing committee of Hyderabad branch, on behalf of the entire members of Hyderabad branch, and wholeheartedly thanking you for designing the concept of UDIN and implementing the same, which is nothing but a bulletproof for a signature of a noble profession, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for the helm of affairs of the ICAI. I request all the members to utilize this wonderful opportunity and send your questions in Q&A to get a clarification from the eminent speakers of the day. With this brief, I welcome all these eminent speakers of the day, Daya sir and Ranjit sir again, and also welcome all the participants and utilize this wonderful opportunity. Over to Pankaj sir. Thank you all.
Thank you much, sir. Then we can take it. Then I'll introduce and we'll take it over.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I could not get it.
May request that anyone and then I'll introduce and we'll take over.
There is a little bit problem. And what is the plan is we requesting you to take opening remarks and tell us about today's program. And then Professor will introduce the speakers and then program will start. Am I correct?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Pankaj Bhai, and Ranjit Bhai, welcome back to Hyderabad. As usual, you have been there for doing multiple things, and it is indeed a pleasure to have you all. I'll remove my earbuds because I am listening my songs. Just sorry.
Just by the time Macha, there sir joins, is my voice clear, Macha? Or?
Now is clear, sir. Now is clear. In between, there is a network issue, I think, because not clear.
Okay.
Now it's clear, sir.
Sorry. Is it audible now?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Chairman Ranjit Bhai, thank you very much for coming into Hyderabad today. It's indeed a pleasure to have you undoubtedly. And trust me, I think, first of all, Macharao, happy marriage anniversary. And this is a gift for you for your marriage anniversary.
Thank you all.
Then we could get the creator of UDIN with us today. And Ranjit Bhai is with us to share his views and important factors which are being discussed at length. And more importantly, the situation has been that, the bank audits, the multiple questions are there among the members. They are a little confused what need to be done, how need to be done. And there are, you see, this is as you rightly said, it is a bulletproof jacket for our chartered accountants. And it is not going to be playing a regulatory role where you are going to get punished, right? It is only for the protection of members. This entire UDIN has been planned. More importantly, the kind of questions, the kind of issues which are coming on a day-to-day basis with each one of us. Fortunately, with Ranjit Bhai, we had Jay Chehra ji, who was the deputy convener in the first year of 1920. And I and Aniket were the part of the entire discussion when, this UDIN was been actually formulated and Ranjit Bhai was actually going through the entire process. And today we are seeing multiple benefits. It not is restricted to India alone. I'll request Ranjit Bhai at that time when he is going to address how this is being globally adopted is something which we all should be feeling proud about our institute. Friends, there is a beautiful publication which has come out from the institute on the UDIN process per se. There are 2 annual reports which have been published, and there is a lot that has been discussed at length, and a lot of statistics are being shared by multiple different kind of pie charts, statistical numbers and all. And you all will be happy also and surprised also the kind of data which we could actually generate in the entire process. But the most important part is with regards to the FAQ. Ranjit bhai, thank you very much for giving the beautiful FAQ to this profession and this fraternity. And the demand for this has been a great value add in the entire process. It has been a great value add. Just to take you all people, before, in my opening remarks itself, we would like to cover what are those things which need to be considered and what are those things. I don't know how many of you might have actually read the publication. If you have not, let me just share with you. It's a beautiful publication which has come out, which has total 11 chapters. 11 chapters are divided into 2 parts. 1 to 10 is having different aspects from the registration to the miscellaneous chapters, which is having various topics which I can discuss at length. And the second part is basically with regards to the 11th chapter is with regards to 7 annexures, which are uniquely been put so that there should not be any error from any of the chartered accountant when they are performing the job. Pankaj bhai, you have been asking me a couple of questions for certain chartered accountants. They call you and you call me back again. We have deliberation every time. So this is nothing but, this document, when Ranjit bhai was documenting, we had gone through it so detailedly that you ask a question, we have an answer. And I think all the kind of concerns which members have expressed is actually coming to this FAQs. We have 118 FAQs which are there in this book, in this publication. And the chapters which are there from 1 to 10 are on the introduction, registration, shareholder or third-party verification. This is very interesting. This entire UDIN process has been categorized into different chapters. Ranjit bhai, I can tell you one thing, that the thought which you had at that time to get this into a proper shape, if our members have read, they'll not have any questions further on UDIN. That is the thing which I can tell you. But yes, the deliberations which we had in multiple UDIN directorate meetings and the kind of learning experience which was there was fantastic and phenomenal. So then we have GST audit, tax audit, certification and attest function separately. UDIN on e-filing portal. Ranjit bhai, I would request you to talk about the CBDT meeting which you had and the webinar which we have done for our members on the e-filing of income tax returns, which is one of the most crucial things. We are going to talk about bank audits also. What are the important aspects which you need to consider in bank audit, which is very, very, very important, because certain mistakes will actually take us to a wrong direction. Unnecessary, if anyone complains, the problem is totally different. Might be we are genuine 100%, but the fact is it will be first perceived negatively. So it is in the interest of the professionals, we need to take care of certain things. Then we have audit and assurance function, revocation and cancellation of UDIN, which is again a very important part. We have got certain good examples to share with how people have played around with. Maybe we are going to discuss in our further deliberation. We have the last chapter, which is miscellaneous. And the 11th chapter, which I was talking about, which has 7 annexures, are very detailedly discussed at length. Friends, what we have seen, what people are perceiving is different. Let me be very specific. What we have seen and what people are perceiving is different. Ranjit bhai is here, who is the person who is a creator of this entire UDIN concept implementation. Rather not creator, I'll say implementation expert of the entire UDIN, and we know what we are doing. Frankly, we are thinking that it is a protection for chartered accountant. Some are feeling that we are doing a invigilation on them. It is not the invigilation. We are interested to protect our professionals. And as you rightly said, Pankaj bhai, in your example, I think you should repeat among our members what is the benefit you have seen from that SRO number which is being published. Friends, Ranjit bhai, there is one very interesting. I got a big call from a IAS officer in Telangana state, in our state. where he specifically said that chartered accountants are signing left, right, center, certain network certificates, this, that, and all other. You will be happy, surprised to know that the number of certificates which they have given us as a copy, they were not chartered accountants. All, I am telling all. And that guy, the moment he was, Pankaj Bhai was the chairman that time, he was so furious on the phone that how can you actually, how can chartered accountants sign wrong network certificates, this, that, and all of that. Then I told you, give me the information. You didn't be placed on that. I don't know all this thing. You chartered accountant are doing this, you chartered accountant are doing that. But the fact which went in was that all those contractor certificates which were being signed were by non-chartered accountants. So this is the kind of benefit which our members are getting in turn. Please understand, we want to protect our profession. We are not here to regulate. Regulation has been a process which is inbuilt in the process, in our act. So we do not want to further regulate. We only want to protect in the entire process. If I start talking and continuously talk, there is so much which I can discuss about the statistics which we have pulled out and the information which we have got. 88,000 firms, and there is much more which I would like to just cut it down because Ranjit Bhai is there and we should actually listen to his opening remarks more than me, Pankaj Bhai, so that his insight, his coordination, his interaction with the regulators has been a great support in the process. And there's a lot of value addition which has gone internationally also. And we are fortunate to have a person like Ranjit Bhai who has actually been taken on the SAFA and CAPA with regards to promoting UDIN globally. This is where we are moving towards. And I think having a gem like him, I am only a part of the entire system when we actually designed this entire thing. And really, I'm happy that in my first year, you will not believe Ranjit Bhai was the person who actually made me speak on UDIN when he was getting late from Vizag to come to Hyderabad, if you remember, Pankaj Bhai. So that was the time when I started getting into UDIN. And today we are fortunate that, we are having a detailed discussion on UDIN. Today, it is going to be very interesting deliberation. I think whoever is going to attend today will never forget what are the basic concepts which are there behind UDIN. When we have Ranjit Bhai here, who is actually into the thick and skin of the entire professional practice, he knows what he is going to talk about. And I'm going to just support him in the entire deliberation. Pankaj Bhai, what we are going to do is, we'll request Ranjit Bhai to talk on, very importantly, you can give his introduction, then we can request him to talk on two important aspects, which is primarily the first and the foremost thing, which is the most crucial thing, is on tax CBDT perception with regards to tax returns, e-filings which are there, which is very critical. Every one of us has to understand. We are going to deliberate on bank audit. We are going to have our discussions which people can listen to. We will have our own question answers which we have discussed at length. Ranjit Bhai and I have made certain questions which we are going to discuss, and then we'll take it off to Q&A. That is my in total, saransh of today's discussion which we are going to have. Thank you, Ranjit Bhai, for coming and joining us. Over to you, Macha.
Pankaj sir, before you start introducing the eminent speakers of the day, Dayabhai, well said, sir. The basic reason why immediately I requested within a very short period of time, within 3-4 days, and I'm very much thankful to Ranjit sir also for accepting immediately. Last 15 days, we have received 3 mails asking about the details of a chartered accountant, sir. All the 3 certificates relating to utilization of funds. It's a long-term loans, utilization of funds, and one regarding a net worth. And I asked these bank people, please send the certificates. By seeing the certificates, I understood that these certificates from Mafsal areas, and simply they are signing auditor and putting some name. There is no UDIN. Then immediately I told that, please ask the person who has given the UDIN. Then they came back to me and said, there is no UDIN concept. So then I explained the concept of UDIN and I told them that these are all not certificates given by the chartered accountants. Along with that, a lot of members went for a bank audit, sir, certification UDIN and all. Almost Pankaj sir and myself, last 1 week, we got more than 15 calls regarding a bank audit. That's what immediately we requested, and thanks for accepting. And within 2 days and organizing this session. Thank you, Dayabhai, and over to Pankaj sir. Sorry for taking 1 more minute from you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Before I hand over to you, Ranjit Bhai, I will just introduce you. I'll again take the pleasure of introducing you for some time. And already, in fact, before I introduce you, couple of things to members. Sir, when Ranjit sir is talking, let us avoid putting messages in chats. Is the first point. It disturbs the speaker. Point number two is any questions, you kindly put it in Q&A only. And I think the first question has already come, which says we need to raise UDIN for each and every certificate which are issued during the branch audit or not. Humble request is just hold on. Let him complete the speech. Otherwise, we are so much into our doubt that we rarely bother to listen what the speaker is speaking. So, friends, let Ranjit Bhai finish the speech. Then you can put the questions from the topics what he has not covered, and then we will just get the answers for you. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to introduce CA Ranjit Kumar Agarwalji, a practicing chartered accountant for last 20 years. He's also a company secretary, DISA from ICA, and a partner in NRSM and Associates. Under his chairmanship, EARC got the Best Regional Council Award in the year 13-14. He was elected to 23rd Central Council of ICA for the term 16-19 and is again re-elected for the term 19-21. And last year, being the chairman of PDC of ICA, he implemented bank branch audit software. He is the one who conceptualized and implemented UDIN as a chairman of PDC, a landmark reform of ICA. He is presently convener of group constituted to implement UDIN concept in all SAARC countries. We know that it's Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and Maldives also. And as a chairman of Ethical Board of ICA in 2019, he revised the Code of Ethics after the gap of 10 years. He is currently the convener of UDIN Directorate, chairman of Capital Market and Investor Protection Committee, chairman of the Tax Audit Quality Review Board. He is also associated with Lions Club, Barabazar Library, JCI, Calcutta Police Traffic Warden, Friends of Tribal Society, and so on. But what he has not written is that he's an excellent person, always available to us, and I was very lucky to have him more than twice, and his sessions were excellent for me. I think, Ranjit bhai, we are just celebrating the anniversary of your first visit of last time. Last time also it was 11th you had come here. I remember that. Thank you very much. I introduce Ranjit sir to you and our young dynamic Dayanivas Sharma ji. I know we don't have to introduce you, but is one of the most friendly Central Council member, a friend, philosopher, guide to all the managing committee members of Hyderabad branch of SRCA, of ICA. His professional engagements across India and international market gave a global outlook to his firm, Lakshminas and Company, and he has been named among the 70 young visionaries operating in U&A. Thereby, I'm sorry I censored your introduction, but I think I told everything about you. Over to you, Ranjit Bhai, for your thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj, for the very kind words, whether I don't know whether I deserve it or not, but the way you have interacted last year with me as a chairman of this Hyderabad branch, one of the best branch of India, it's immensely very important that you have contributed lots, sir, also last year. Chairman of this branch this year, Machir Rao, and my congratulations on the anniversary also, Mr. Chairman. And I can also see Naresh Jelly. So welcome, sir. And my good friend Dayanivas Sharma. I will just tell you, friends, Dayanivas Sharma is the good addition to this council this year. And it is not my surprise that within a span of 2 years, this is the third year of this first term council of Dayanivas, the kind of contribution he has made to the council is immense. You take it the peer review board, the way he has drafted the peer review statement, the fees revision of the peer review, the automation in this system, it's remarkable. Nobody had done so far in ICI in peer review. Then he has done this digital accounting standards. He's the vice chairman of the DAV, and he along with Manu Bhai are now formulating first time in India, first time in the world, new digital standards for ICI. So if the Digital Accounting Standard Board is preparing the digital standards for forensic accounting, that is also kudos to ICI under the leadership of Dayabhai and Manu. And then you see that this digital learning hub, you see the SSP, all these are contributed by Daya. So it's a immensely, hugely contributed year or 2 year last by Daya. So it's a very, very good addition to the council. And as far as UDIN is concerned, he's since beginning, he's the part of this UDIN directorate along with Aniket. So whatever problem we are facing technically, non-technically, Daya and Aniket are there to assist the board and implement the UDN. So it's a very hugely contributing 2 years of Dayanivas Sharma of this council. And I must say it's a very good addition to the council in the form of Dayanivas Sharma from Telangana state. Now coming to the topic UDN, friends, as now you all are it's a reality that UDN is mandatory. And why it is mandatory? Because we have seen so many complaints and this forgery of the name of the chartered accountant certificate, all these things. And that's why Institute has made this UDI mandatory. Now, the whole purpose of UDI is to just whatever you are signing, you are owning it. Whenever you are signing, you are owning, yes, it is my signature. And that's why we are putting the UDI. Wherever your signature is there and UDN is not there, there is a doubt in that signature. The trust deficit is there in that signature. If that signature is not authentic. Whenever the signature is followed by a UDN number, it is a trust in the eyes of the public that this signature is authentic and we can rely on it. So this kind of trust has been generated in the eyes of the public after UDI. And the whole concept of the UDI is a one line. Whenever you are signing something, it should be followed by a unique number. That's it. Whatever you are signing as a practicing chartered accountant, that has to be followed by a unique number. The reason being, whenever you have signed something, somebody is relying on your signature. And when you are putting a number, then you are owning, yes, I have signed this signature. And the person who is relying on your signature can be happily accept, okay, this is the chartered accountant signature, and now I can take decision based on his certificate. But now the way we are seeing all across the country, the kind of fraud, manipulation in the name of the chartered accountant. I'm just giving you some 2-3 data. There are 140,000 CA in this country who are practicing as a full-time practicing CA out of 320,000 members. 140,000 having COP. Out of 140,000, 120,000 are now generating UDI. That means they are only doing the attest function. Rest are COP, but they are not doing attest function. They might be in consultancy or they might not be signing. That's fine. Now, out of this 140,000 chartered account who are in practice, there are 90,000 firms. These 90,000 firms, 72% are proprietorship firm. There are hardly not more than 400 firms who have partnership strength of 10 partners and more. So literally in 90,000 firms, 396 firms having 10 partners and more. Rest are less than 10 partners or proprietorship. So in our country, if you talk about the big company, listed company, government company, CAG audit, big insurance company audit, NBFC audit, government audit, and big tender, these are all catered by only 400 firms in India. So if you see the majority, we say the $3 trillion, $4 trillion economy. So the majority of this $3 trillion is certified by these 400 firms. Rest, those who are 90,000 minus 489,600 firms who are proprietor or less than 10 partners, they are running the show in this tier 2, tier 3 city, nook and corner, SME certification, all these things. So there is a huge gap between this huge 400 firm and other firm. So whenever you are confronted with the fake certificate or others, so people are not able to distinguish who has signed it. So when we have talked with the banking sector, bank management, they are not getting the UDI number earlier. Now, before getting your signature, they insist on your UDI number. And at the click of the 1 hour, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night, banks are verifying the UDI number. The reason being, they are now relying on the CA certificate with the UDI number only, without UDI number. And whenever they are getting UDI number, they are checking. The moment they are checking, you are getting SMS. If somebody has checked your UDI. So this kind of trust has been created in the services of the CA by the regulator after the UDI. I am giving you one small example. In the state of Rajasthan, 2 months before, there was a Asian Development Bank tender of 250 crore rupees tender. And the many companies apply to the tender. There is a CA firm in Calcutta who is impaneled with this Asian Development Bank to do the due diligence of all the work of the ADB. So all the tender, whatever received by this ADB, has been given to the CA firm in Calcutta to do the due diligence. And the due diligence, they have checked the UDI, balance sheet, everything, and they said that there is not a single firm who can qualify to this tender, and they have given his report to the ADB. So this tender was rejected. Again, after 1 month, they have done the retender. And the retender, again, some firms applied, and again, this same work was given to a CA firm in Calcutta who was impaneled with the ADB. While going through the due diligence, one of the balance sheet of a client who has applied in a tender, they found that when the person went to go check the UDI number of that balance sheet, the data which he have checked in the UDI, he remembered the same UDI he have checked in the last time also, and he had rejected. But now when again he checked this data, there is some manipulation in the data of the UDI. Same balance sheet, same year, same UDI. Since he had checked the UDI earlier, he remembered the data, and this time the data is same, but in the balance sheet the figures have changed. So what happened? The client or the chartered accountant, we don't know, has manipulated some data in between, and they have made their balance sheet to qualify in the tender. Just by going through this UDI number checking, this chartered accountant in Calcutta came to know the manipulation done in the balance sheet, and he has given the report, and the same balance sheet was again rejected. So it's a 250 crore rupees tender. Had they have given to this firm, the account would have been gone NPA. So this is the power of the UDI now. The chartered accountant, the regulator, they've started checking the number and they come to know. So this is the one aspect why UDI is important. Second aspect, we have tie-up with the various regulators like income tax, CBDT. Now, suppose you have signed a 3CD report and you have generated a UDI. Now the CBDT says the moment you upload the 3CD report, you also upload the UDI number. If you don't upload the UDI number, your report will be considered invalid. Of course, on our request, they have given the 15 days time, because we say, sir, this chartered accountant has 15 days to generate UDI. So you have also to allow them 15 days, within 15 days, they can upload the UDI. So on our request, the CBDT has allowed, you can upload the 3CD report or any tax audit report of any form as per income tax rule. But within 15 days, you have to upload the UDI number which you have generated while signing that report to the CBDT portal. In the absence of the UDI number within 15 days, the CBDT has the mandate to invalid the report you have uploaded to the portal without the number. Because on one hand, you cannot say, I don't have the UDI. Because you have to generate UDI within 15 days. And they are also asking you the UDI within 15 days. So they have aligned themselves with the ICI. And one more important aspect, when you are generating the UDI number from UDI portal, and when you are uploading this UDI number to the CBDT portal, there is a checking by the CBDT portal through API with the ICI portal, so that any number you cannot put there. The number you have generated in the ICI portal with the right form number, and if that form you are uploading with the same UDN, only then they will accept. If you are uploading the UDN number with a different form or the same form with a different UDN, the CBDT will not accept, because CBDT portal and ICI portal are linked through API. So this is the one of the best recognition of the UDN number by the CBDT. They have now recognized the importance of the UDN, and henceforth they will come out with the various reporting format. How many chartered accountant given UDN, how many not given, how many reports were uploaded, how many not uploaded, all these data they are supposed to give it. The time will come later on that henceforth, how many tax audit reports you have signed and uploaded, the number 60 tax audit report per member can also be tracked by the CBDT, and notices can be issued through ICI, because they are in the position to give this data to ICI. Your ex-member has signed so much number of tax audit report. So based on this number, institute will be able to issue the so-called notice to the member that you have crossed the limit or you have not crossed, like this. Number two, friends, after this UDN concept, the government is happy, banking sector is happy, CBDT is happy. We are in the process to tie up with the MCA also. Many people say why UDN is required in the MCA form. Friends, if you see all the MCA form, take any MCA form printout. At the end of the MCA form, the one line is written, wrong certification of this form will attract section 447 of the Companies Act. Now, what is this 447? 447 is the fraud section of the Company Year 2013. So if you are right now wrongly certifying any MCA form with your digital signature, the 447 is applicable on you. On the basis of that, we have made UDN mandatory on all the MCA form, because UDN, as I told you earlier, is mandatory whether you are signing digitally or manually. Since you have applied your signature, UDN number is mandatory. That is the preamble of the UDN. So all the MCA form which you are uploading on the MCA portal, if you are putting your digital signature, UDN is also mandatory there. So we are in the process to have a tie-up with the MCA. CBDT we have already done. RBI we are in the process, so that all the forms, all the document you are uploading with the digital signature by chartered accountant, that UDN has to be there, aligned with them, and that all the detail can be synced and all the reporting can be done at one place, so that the fraud and signature by the non-CA can be avoided. As I told you, friends, there is not much chartered accountant in this country. Hardly, I told you, 140 out of 140, 120 are generating UDN. Do you think a country like India, 1,20,000 CA is enough? A huge economy like India, 3 trillion or more, we are contemplate to $5 trillion. And where is the number? Where is the people coming into the practice? 99% are not coming to the practice. They are going for job. 5, 10, 20 lakhs, it's easily available, which was not available in our time. That's why I came to the practice. I could not get the job. So that point of time was different. Right now it's a different. So 1,20,000 CA are only doing the due diligence and certification and the audit and assurance function. That's why they are generating UDN. New CAs are not coming. So can you believe a country like India can be catered by only 1,20,000 CA? Not at all. That means somebody else are doing in the name of the chartered accountant. That does not mean that work is not going. Work is going on, but we are not aware. We are not aware. You are not aware who is doing on our behalf, who is certifying all these reports. Now the things are getting difficult for these non-CA. whether those who are bankers, connivance with the banker or some bureaucrat or somebody people who are doing, all these reports are coming in the public domain, and it's in the life is getting difficult for them. And that's why the value of the signature of the chartered accountant has increased now. Trust has reposed more. It was earlier also, but now the trust factor has increased more. And that's why the government has also recognized the importance of UDN, and they are in the process to implement everywhere. Globally, as they are said, globally, we are the first country in the world who has conceptualized this item of UDN. And considering the success rate of the UDN, all the SAFA countries, SARC countries, CAPA country, they are contemplating to implement the same kind of system in their country also. An Institute of Chartered Accountants is helping those countries to develop and implement UDN in their country also. So this kind of helping nature, India is the Basudev Kutumbakam, whether in vaccine also, we shortage of that, but we are supplying the world. So the same line, we are also helping the UDN in other country also. So that's the nature of we Indians. We don't discriminate. We want to help everybody on this planet. So that's the one aspect. So as they are rightly said, this CBDT, the globally, all these places, UDN is now recognized. And I'm telling you, friends, we can also discuss the nitty-gritty bank audit requirement, all these things. But the one line of UDN is that whatever I have understood UDN, if you are putting your signature, it has to be supported by UDN. That is the one line preamble of UDN. You don't ask the question, isme lagega, isme kyun nahi lagega, isme. No, if as a practicing CA, you are putting something as a signature, you are certifying something. And once you are certifying something, it has to be supported by UD number, so that earlier, whether it is your signature or not, who knows how it can be verified. You can write to the ICI, ICI will write you in 10 days, 20 days, 2 months. Now, online, real-time basis, anybody can go and put the UDN number. They can come to know, oh, this is the XYZ signed by so-and-so people on this date of this figure. At least these kind of online information is available to anybody, any stakeholder across the globe. That is the concept of UDN, and that is the importance of UDN. That's why it is successful. And that's why today, forget about the bankers. Even we are receiving the response from the political parties. They are saying the person who has signed the balance sheet of political party, UDN is not there. They are not accepting the signature of that charter account. This kind of trust in the political party has also come. Where is the UDN? Give us the UDN. So this kind of trust has been, and we and moreover, friends, UDN is for our own benefit. That we have to understand. This is not for somebody else's benefit. If we are stopping somebody else to sign on our behalf, then we are helping our fraternity. We are generating work for our fraternity, because otherwise work was going to somewhere else, which they are not entitled. Now work is coming back to us since we were entitled. And there is no dearth of the work in this country, provided we know our importance and we judicially and prudently sign what we sign. And then you will see the importance of the signature of CA will grow manyfold in the years to come. With these words, we can take the question answer or any other point you want to discuss. We are ready to discuss. Over to Pankaj Bhai.
Thank you, Ranjit Bhai. I heard my elders used to tell me, whatever happens, happens for good, and I was not believing them. But आज जब आप बोले आपको job नहीं मिला इसलिए practice को आए, now I am thinking that it's right, because if you would have been in employment, maybe you would have not seen a central council member like you. You would have been busy becoming a CEO of some firm. What we'll do, friends, is now you can just put the question, but I'd like to invite Danyava Sharma ji to give his views, and then we can just take the question answers.
Yeah, Pankaj Bhai, what we'll do is, because Ranjit Bhai is there, and Ranjit Bhai has nicely actually said what he means by UDIN, what he understood by UDIN in a very simple term. Wherever the chartered accountant signature is there, there should be a UDIN. I think the entire sum up of the session is only on that. But Ranjit bhai, I think, I have picked up a couple of questions from our FAQs, which might be of a lot of interest, because what is happening is our chartered accountants are really busy with due dates to due dates, due date to due date. And the probability of everyone going and reading certain thing will not be there. So might be we have 200 plus participants today, which will give them also an insight with what is the question. Might be we'll take 3-4 fundamental, little complicated, more complicated. All set of questions we'll take it. Let us deliberate. Pankaj bhai, I think certain questions which are there in FAQ will answer most of them in our to our members. So if you think it
somewhere
appropriate,
thereby in this, I think the one burning question which gets repeated after repeated, because you can also see the Q&A. Now, every person or almost everyone who is here are the people who are into the bank doing bank audits. And now the pertinent question is just giving a UDIN for the financial statement enough and we can continue same for all
climax,
certificates? Or everywhere you sign, you have to generate UDIN. That is one question I think if we can answer,
Pankaj
most
bhai,
of them will be very happy.
क्लाइमैक्स को रहने दो ताकि everyone will continue
लोग
till
रह
the end.
सके.
So we will not answer this question. Though Machar was insisting that bank audit concerns are there, we will surely do it 101%, no doubt. Am I right, Ranjit bhai?
Yeah.
We'll surely do it.
Okay, friends.
But
now there's a commitment from a Central Council member that it will be answered. So let us stay back. But before we just take FAQ, there will be one question to Ranjit bhai. He was saying that if any CA signed more than 60 tax audit reports, they will inform ICA to take action. But is there a chance that the income tax department can say, no, those tax audit reports itself are invalid?
No, what happens, sir? This number of now it's a 75, I think 60 earlier it was 75 now. It is a ICI guideline to take action or not. That is our domain. As far as income tax is concerned, they have issued a guideline putting the UDIN number on the CBDT portal within 15 days of the uploading of report is mandatory. Now, suppose you don't put the UDI number after 15 days. So they have the mandate to make it invalid, but right now, they are extending the dates. They have extended to, I think, 30th April. So you have to, because why you are not putting the number? You have generated already. Then why you don't want to give to the income tax portal? Some problem is there. That's why you are not giving. So the income tax says if you have generated within 15 days, please put it here. They have the mandate to make it invalid, but for that they have to amend their Income Tax Act right now. But they have the power to make it invalid wherever they want.
So just one more point, Pankaj bhai. Point is very simple that ICI is actually introduced this UDIN concept to protect our members. Now the importance has gone to a level where it is becoming mandatory in more than one ways, where the department is saying, and I think it is in the interest of profession only they are telling this. This would have not been there. And rightly said by Ranjit bhai, it is not invalidating of income tax return, but the non-compliance of ICI is going to be triggered there.
Let me start with that FAQs, and then what are not covered, I will ask the questions later on.
Sure. Thank you very much, Pankaj bhai. And you can pip in between also, because fortunately, when you get an opportunity to question the convener, the person who drafted UDIN, I think it's the most pleasuresome, feeling because he made us work a lot. So now, Ranjit bhai, we'll take a couple of questions, around 10, 12 questions, which are very important, which I highlighted. I think it should be the core information in the minds of chartered accountants. One is with regards to how UDIN generated earlier can be tracked.
No, we have a search option in our UDIN portal, and that search option is by various means, by UDIN number, by year, by your membership number, by your form number. There are so many parameters. By putting these keywords, you can anytime search how many UDN you have generated in the past, and there is an Excel sheet can be exported. The list can come on a screen and you can export to your Excel also. These kind of features are there. So the UDN can be searched any point of time of any 5-year, 10-year, whichever you want. There is no time limit in this search option.
Thank you, Ranjit Bhai. The reason of asking this question is very straight and very important for our members, because this Excel, okay, you might not feed it in the Udin portal, but when you are able to pull out this data in the Excel, we should request our members to put fees against those certificates which they have released. And this Vasudev Kutumkum is basically an answer. We Indians have been actually doing everything free. So now we chartered accountant particularly, we have been thinking that, we are contributing a lot. Why do they require certificate is one first question we should have, because it is having some importance, and the importance cannot be without any price. We need to charge. So now my request is, the reason of asking that specific question, Ranjit Bhai, to you was, I think we both as a council member should request all our members to put fees against that. So you will understand how much charitable work we are doing as a chartered accountant. And it is time where all certificates which we are giving are statutory compliances. Tomorrow, God forbid, something goes wrong, no one is going to come and protect us in any form. So this is the first statement which I wanted to start with, Ranjit Bhai, though it was a very silly question, but it has a lot of meaning in that. So I just wanted to add it there.
It is not only the meaning, thereby it's got a lot of money into it, because every time many people crib that you're doing a lot of work but not getting money. I think this is the time where we all start telling the clients, look, boss, now ICAI knows, even the GST department knows how many UDINs we are issued. So tomorrow GST department can pull out the UDINs and say, you have given 10 certificates, but you are raised bill for only 2. So where is the 8? So I think that gives an excellent opportunity for us to start billing. First, bill karo,
that's the point, Pankaj.
All of us start billing, lives will improve.
That is the point which I am trying to say, that we are doing protection ke liye, this will get regulated. That is the point which we are trying to just communicate from a different mode. Very interesting question, Ranjit Bhai, which is the most crucial one: whether UDIN is required to be generated for certified true copies, which is the most crucial and critical thing, which Pankaj Bhai always asks me, really required, really, 4 baar to pooch liya aaj tak. So kindly answer that.
Yeah, this is a very important question, and everybody should know what is certified true copy. Certified true copy, what I understand, that it is you are making Xerox with the original and putting your signature. Okay, this is, I have seen the original, and this Xerox is this Xerox is equal to original, and I'm putting my signature. That is the certified true copy. Now, who can put the certified true copy signature? A gazetted officer in India. As per the Supreme Court decision, chartered accountants are not the gazetted officer, as per the Supreme Court of India. So we chartered accountants have no mandate to put the certified true copy. Yes, we have the mandate to make an opinion on the data supplied to us. That is our role. So whenever a figure or a balance sheet or any report is coming to us, we are making an opinion and putting our signature. So as far as this original with the Xerox is concerned, we cannot make an opinion, we cannot make certified true copy. Yes, we can say a report, a certificate that I have seen this Xerox, I have checked with the original, I know this data, and accordingly I can make an opinion and sign and make a UDI and give it to the client, and most importantly, charge the fees also. 99% cases of certified true copy, nobody charge anything. Nobody charges. Let's say just simple stamp and signature, why you are charging? Like this, clients are telling. So there are two aspects. We cannot have the mandate to sign as a certified true copy, number one. We can give an opinion on that piece of paper with the UDR and with the fees.
Thank you, Ranjit Bhai. I think you explained well, and was a very clear message. I think Pankaj Bhai, now I will not get a call from him. Thank you. The next question is very interesting.
I think some questions there is from the Q&A. Yes, they may come.
Yes. Yeah, Ranjit Bhai, there is one more interesting thing which people are asking every time. Whether you for the manual certificates, whether any digital certification which is being done by chartered accountants, whether we need to generate UDIN for.
I ask you a counter question. By putting the digital signature of the certificate, should I am relieved from my responsibility? That is not my signature.
No.
If I am putting my digital signature online and I am saying yes, I have signed it. So if we ask in that also we required. So how does it distinguish from the manual? So that's why we have said earlier, whether manually or digitally, whatever you sign, your signature should be followed by a unique number. That's why all MCA forms
Right.
we are insisting. We are insisting all the income tax form, CA form, RBI form, every digital signature has to be supported by a UDI.
Yes, so I think, and more importantly, for our members, they need to understand one thing is the movement is generated for this specific purpose. It will become a very important thing for you.
You are right there, because that's why since we are now allowing our member to generate UDI within next 15 days. That's the client later on also. That is one part. But going forward, the time will come in next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. The digital signature or any signature you are putting has to be generated UDI immediately.
Yes.
15 days will go gradually. Right now, days for getting time on this thing. But henceforth, one online.
If right, it was brought by the regulator, then automatically this will become a real-time document, UDIN generation. One of the most important part, Ranjit Bhai, unfortunately, lot of our members are facing one difficulty with regards to, they are applying for bank loans. And every bank is telling them to get it certified, the ITRs to be certified, as we discussed in the previous question also. The problem, what is happening is our client is coming back to the chartered accountant and saying that, look, banker is asking you to certify. I think it is time where we need to again write it back to our bankers or Reserve Bank of India or IBA that they should not be insisting for that kind of certification. If they are asking, as you rightly said, I think we need to give it in a report format. Am I right? If any client is coming to us to give it certified true copy of ITR, it is better to prepare a report saying that this is the sources of my information. Though even if I have done it, I have filed the return, but still it is important that we need to do it. That I think.
Yes,
am I right?
yes, right. You are right. This example there, when the bank are insisting to the chartered accountant through their client, please certify these things. I'm giving you one small example. One of the client in Calcutta came to a chartered accountant, my 20 crore working capital loan is completed. Only one certificate required by the chartered accountant. So I have come to you, please sign it. So when the chartered accountant went through the wording of this certificate, he called me. He said, sir, how can I sign this certificate? The wording said, X amount has been disbursed to XYZ Private Limited. All the formality has been complied. I, chartered accountant so-and-so, certify that the proceeds of this loan will be used as per RBI Act and regulation. Now, how the chartered accountant can give this, but the client was fighting with the CA. Why can't you give this certificate? Because of your one certificate, my loan will stuck up. What is big in this? So he was having argument. So he called me. Then I told him, you just write a mail to the banker. Sir, I have received this certificate format from my client. You please confirm the bank want this certificate from the chartered accountant or not. So on my advice, he's written mail to the banker. Within 2 hours, You will be surprised to know. Within 2 hours, the bank management with his assistants came to the chartered accountant office. And he pleaded guilty. He said, sir, I made two mistakes. Well, what? Number one, I cannot ask this kind of certificate from chartered accountant, number one. Number two, I cannot give this kind of loan to this client.
So where he was
Some NBFC company or something like this. So what happens, sir? Because of ignorance and our over reliance on our client, we certify anything.
correct.
We ask question from the banker, then they will tell you the real story.
Rightly said Ranjit Bhai. I think Naresh Bhai is here, Pankaj Bhai is here. There is very interesting point which I'll add to this. You know, the first is basically when if we as a chartered accountant, I as a client, chartered accountant of a client say that I'll not sign. The client is actually going to some other chartered accountant and getting it signed. Please, I request each one not do that. There is a reason behind that person not signing. And why do you want to take a responsibility of signing that report? I think it is not in the interest of a person at any given point in time. The person is not signing. Why are we signing? And it is matter of not fees of 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 rupees. It is matter of the entire certificate getting booked with the DC. That's the point which I would like to even insist on. Ranjit Bhai, you will also agree to this fact. Some people are moving. When I am not signing, he is going to some other chartered accountant. He'll come back and tell, look, some other chartered accountant is saying. I think there is something which we need to really look into and say, boss, look, if my other chartered accountant is not signed, like in case of lawyers, they don't take other case. We should be actually following that kind of discipline. That's my suggestion, recommendation, I can say. And more importantly, Ranjit Bhai, what is your opinion with regards to resignation of auditors and no objection from the previous auditor?
So far,
with regards to
NOC, communication with the previous auditor and other things, this peer review also, we have not made UDAN mandatory. But we are in the process to frame the guideline where NOC can happen through the UDAN portal itself. So you don't have to write a letter to the mail to the previous auditor. Whenever you want a NOC from the previous auditor, you can generate something in the UDAN portal. A alert will go to the previous auditor. He can confirm your NOC over. Like this kind of system we are developing on UDAN portal. But right now, NOC or the peer review, UDAN is not mandatory.
Yeah, but only thing, Ranjit Bhai, you being now part of DC, I have been part of DC. We have seen a lot of people who are not taking NOCs for assurance function. People should not think that it is only for the statutory audit, but you should actually be vigilant with regards to GST audit, with regards to income tax audit, with regards to any assurance services which you are giving. It is better you take NOC because a lot of cases are getting registered and a lot of issues are being discussed at length. Ranjit Bhai, there is one important point which I would like to share with you is, I think even Pankaj Bhai will have the same question with regards to, one UDIN for multiple certificates or multiple certificates, multiple UDINs at one time.
No, we have this aspect we have clarified in our bank branch audit FAQ also, wherein we have said that UDAN has to be generated per signatory, per assignment at one point of time. Meaning thereby, suppose you are doing a bank branch audit, one single branch audit is a one assignment, and one assignment comprises of appointment by the appointment letter of the two, three items, like one is the bank audit, LFRA and the company audit, one is the tax audit. So there are the two assignments in one bank branch audit. One by tax audit is a different assignment, and LFRA and certificate is a different assignment. So there are two UDN is required for one bank branch audit. All the certificates are the part of the audit report and LFRA. That's why separate UDN is not required. You have to generate one UDN for LFRA and balance sheet, and all the certificate one UDN, and tax audit one UDN. So we have advised there are two UDN in one branch. Of course, there are permutations, like some two partners have signed in different times of the same branch. Then the different UDIN is required. Why we are saying? Because UDIN is linked with the membership number. One member cannot generate UDIN on behalf of others. The person who is signing has to generate the UDIN. That's why we are saying if the branch audit also of one branch, two persons are signing in different dates, then the different UDIN is required. If one person is signing in same date, only one UDIN is required. So these aspects we have clarified in FAQ also.
No, two things, Ranjit Bhai. First is, I think for the members at large, the climax has come in between as a mysterious story. We are actually going to guess the bank audit answer he's given. I wanted a different answer, but thank you, Ranjit Bhai, for giving this clarification, which is very important for the purpose of bank audit. Friends, today's session, which was there primarily for the bank audit purpose, I think, and many other things which are there, but again, bank audits were being conducted by various auditors, and the chairman had that concern that, we need to actually have a deliberation. And very rightly said by you, Ranjit Bhai, balance sheet audit and LFAR and certificate are forming part of one assignment. Balance sheet, P&L, schedule, certification, LFAR, all are forming part of one engagement. So it will be one certificate which is required to be UDIN to be required to be generated. But one more thing which you need to do when you are generating UDIN, you need to go in the generating in that particular thing. Am I right, Ranjit Bhai? So the point, yeah. So the point is you are generating for the entire purpose, but tax audit is separate. Please understand, this is a separate assignment. This is a separate assignment. Now the point goes very simple. There is a situation, just to explain further, Ranjit Bhai, with your permission. Example, I was signing a particular branch. I've signed all those things, and unfortunately, fortunately by completing the audit, I have gone outstation for some other work. And what has happened is another 2-3 certificates have come. Another 2-3 certificates have come. Example, I am saying that I'll come after 4 days. After that, I'll sign. So for those certificates, you need to generate separate UDIN because you are going to sign on a different date. Point number one, very important. Please note it. Number two, I am not there. My partner Naresh Giri is sitting in the office. He's signing a couple of certificates. So in that case also, though it is a full engagement, which is one, but you need to generate, Naresh bhai, you need to generate the UDIN for your engagement, what you have signed. So which is very critical, which every member have to understand that the difference between all these things, because a responsibility is being taken by me or you. You have performed your duty, I have performed my duty. So it cannot be actually combined into one and just released. So be very careful with regards to all those signings and certifications, because bank audit certifications are critical, and every certificate in bank audit has his own individual identity in the process. Please understand, if I'm talking about DIGCC certification, I'm talking about Sukanya account relief, or I'm talking about restructuring of accounts. Ghosh Jilani. Every certificate has its own independence. When I am taking a responsibility or Naresh bhai is taking a responsibility, it makes whole lot of difference. So friends, I think for bank audit, if this is clear or anyone has questions, can put it in Q&A. But Ranjit bhai, there is one more important thing which you have introduced beautifully, rather in the entire concept of UDIN. The bulk UDIN generation is one unique thing which you have done. So I request you to kindly add your views on that bulk UDIN generation.
Bulk UDIN generation we have introduced lately, because many people are saying that so many certificates we have to sign, so many UDIN generate, lot of time is going on. So then we have introduced one facility through Excel that up to 300 UDIN, you can generate all the certificate or anything at one go. So suppose a Excel sheet is there, format is there, you put all the figure there and just upload. The moment you upload up to 300 data, the 300 UDIN will be generated in one go. And then this 300 UDIN you can use in whichever form you want. So to save the time of our member who are in practice of issuing certificates, more and more certificate, they can like combine all this certificate in one Excel, upload and get all the UDN in one minute.
Perfectly good. Pankaj bhai or Naresh bhai, you have any question? I have a couple of more left which I can discuss.
Yeah, but
one more thing.
if you take there by just connected questions like
Any question, bank branch audit, we can clarify.
yeah, connected. I think one bit practical from Akshay Jawar, who says, can we generate UDIN sometime before the actual signature of the certificate? That is, he wants to generate UDIN in the morning itself and in the night come time.
See, concept of our institute, there is a board called Audit and Assurance Standard Board, AASB. So what is this concept of signature? Suppose you have generated a UDN by giving some figure at X point of time. While signing the report, the figure may get changed. You cannot give an assurance that when you have generated the UDN, the same figure will remain when you sign the report. So our AASB standard says, before signature, putting your signature, you cannot certify any figure. So once you are generating a UDN, you are certifying some figure. So we are not allowing you to, before putting your signature, certify something at the UDN portal. That is not permissible.
Before the board meeting, I think he is expecting to generate the UDIN and keep it ready. Just imagine a situation. Just imagine a situation, Pankaj bhai. Certain decisions are taken in the board, and the board has to adopt. Audit committee has to adopt the financial statement. Board has to adopt the financial statement, and then only you put your signature after the directors put the signature, or the management put the signature. There is a real good protocol which has been maintained as per the standards, as rightly said by Ranjit bhai. Auditing standards specifically talk about event-based situation. You cannot generate, you cannot actually assume that this is the right number going to be there. You cannot assume that, because certain decisions with regards to might be dividend, certain things with regards to might be provisioning, certain discussion which is going to come on the table of the board. There can be different situations where the numbers can actually modify. So as rightly said by Pankaj, Ranjit bhai, just be careful with regards to the compliance of auditing standards also.
I think in that concept of true copy, which Ranjit bhai has clearly explained, Mr. Palukuri Rao has one more question. Whether in opinion on matter without financial figures, how to generate UDIN?
Opinion, UDN is not applicable on the opinion, because these opinions are not the attached function. Right. When you are certifying something without figure or with figure, that is your attached function. But suppose you are giving an opinion of income tax, GST, insolvency, so that opinion is not an attached function. So UDN is not applicable on opinions.
Yes. I think I am combining two questions thereby, because it's a general statements like thing, which says that UDIN for all signatures is indeed a tall order in situations like power of attorney, filing of appeal before CIT, ITAT, etc. And one sentence has come saying that make UDIN verified mandatory by banking and tax authorities, else fake UDIN can also be submitted. So I think just a comment on these two things.
See, if you can just repeat again.
Yeah, one is Asthana sir says UDIN for all signatures is a tall order in situations like power of attorney, filing of appeals before CIT, ITAT, etc.
There is no requirement for filing of appeal.
So filing of appeal and all the power of attorney, UDIN is not required.
Nothing, not required. So primarily one. But however, to extend his answer, even if I have to generate good number of UDINs on my certification, it is for whom? It is for whom? It is for our protection. There are certain cases. Ranjit bhai, you might remember Aniket's example of Ahmedabad, where one chartered accountant was associated with another, with his client for almost 40 years. And his certificate was being tweaked or modified by the client to file for a tender. And when this matter came in, fortunately, in that government organization, a chartered accountant was sitting. who was waiting this entire process, his excitement because he's receiving all messages from institute that get UDIN verified, get UDIN verified. He opened and he saw the certificate. Just see, these are all coincidences. There is nothing which is intention. He's the person who is sitting in the position there was actually verifying that, right? The moment he went and saw in the UDIN, can you just imagine that this chartered accountant signed some other certificate and the number UDIN which was being generated was something else. The number which was given, he put the UDIN, no problem. But the fact is, when he went back, every time, unfortunately, the fact in past, thanks to Ranjit Bhai, you have done a fantastic job. Thanks to making us feel protected with regards to UDIN, because earlier it was we were convicted, we were we were accused in the entire process. But today, because of UDIN, we are not accused, we are witness to the process. This is very important. So what is happening is government is taking chartered accountant support if you have done it right. So the technical thing is the UDIN concept might look little cumbersome. I don't know why it is looking cumbersome. It is a process which is very clearly defined. It is simple. And I think from last 2 years, Pankaj Bhai, have you seen the site going down anytime? It is only for the particular purpose when the system runs for maintenance for 15-20 minutes. Only at that time the site is down. Otherwise, the site is fully effectively working. So my request to that gentleman is, please ensure that it is not cumbersome. It is our protection. Let us follow that. That's the only thing.
For which Mr. Alice Srivastava just had given a statement saying that make UDIN verification mandatory by banking and tax authorities, else fake UDIN can be submitted. I think they are checking, we cannot.
Banking already mandatory. All the bankers are now checking. CBDT will come in the times to come.
Yeah.
And thereby, our very favorite question every time, is there a condonation beyond 15 days in genuine cases?
Condonation की story मेरे को रंजीत भाई से पूछो. We know what we have gone through, but I cannot express here. That is a different thought. Not only him, there are 2-3 more council members who have expressed certain, reservations at a particular point in time. But now if you see, on 28th December 2020, there was a very beautifully drafted condonation process, because we were finding some people, in ignorance, they might have not done it. Genuine people have not done it. And they didn't thought that, UDIN is going to become so important in the process. Am I right, Ranjit bhai? So important in the process. But what was happening is all those certificates, all those balance sheets which were being signed were getting verified, and surprisingly, they were getting to know that, okay, UDIN is not there. And there used to be multiple calls which used to come to particularly Ranjit bhai, to me from South and all. So what has happened in the entire process was, we realized, okay, let us do one thing, one-time condonation, will give it off. So one-time condonation is already been given, which has been extended, which Ranjit bhai can actually give a little insight with regards to the condonation process.
So condonation part, since it was a new law, when UDIN was introduced in, I think, 1st Feb 2019, this was the first date UDIN started. So we thought that many members' awareness was not there. The whole idea of UDIN to make the member comply, not to penalize. So after 2 years, we thought if somebody has missed or because of ignorance or something, so we are giving them the window to just correct themselves and generate the UDIN of the missed UDIN of the last 1 or 2 years. We have given to the extent of since inception, February 2019 till date, they can make their UDIN rectified. But now this 15 days will continue, and 15 days will come down to 7 days, 3 days in a days to come. And moreover, friends, 15 days is a big day. Suppose you have signed something, within 15 days also, if you cannot generate UDIN, then it's I have nothing to say. Because how much time you need to generate the UDIN of the document you have already signed. So we have given you the 15 days. So, and that is also given just to avoid the last days, pressure, site crashing, some issue come, technical issue, just to get rid of this thing, 15 days given. Otherwise, there is no point in giving 15 days also. But still, the 15 days is there. So you can make good in all the missed UDI in the next 15 days. That is the law right now. There is no any condonation part as far as now. But suppose you have missed something even after 15 days. So you just go through Schedule 2, Part 2, Clause 1. Schedule 2, Part 2, Clause 1, 221, I call it. What it says, कि non-adherence to the council guideline is a professional misconduct. UDN is a council guideline. So suppose you have not generated UDN within next 15 days and somebody, your rival or your client or somebody complain that this gentleman has issued this report without UDI, then it's a professional misconduct. On the basis of the complaint by somebody, this 221 clause is applicable to you if you have not generated UDI within 15 days of your signature. So right now, there is no condonation, but if you have not generated, even after 15 days, you generate whichever date you remember, you generate by giving the different date, but still non-compliance is there.
Yeah. And more important,
one serious thing has been pointed out. One thing I think I'm not sure, Sneha Munot has put that the UDIN website allows a post dated to be mentioned. Kindly this loophole. So
post dated.
Yeah, I don't know if Sneha can just throw more light on this. That would still help them. But there's some issue which has been put in here. I never had this post-dated thing.
Let her unmute and see.
You can get her, Pankaj bhai. We have to see this. I don't think it is allowed.
Meanwhile, I will try to get her.
In the last, you can get her. In the last.
Yeah, in the last, we'll get her. Meanwhile, I think you can just check and take the other questions regarding the MCA. I think one question I'll just throw. Is UDIN required for documents signed for MCA annual returns?
Yes.
Or other forms using
all the MCA form, I already tell in my deliberation, all the MCA form signed digitally by the practicing CA, UDI is mandatory. The reason being, wrong certification of MCA form will attract section 447 of the Companies Act. That is a fraud section. So that's why all the MCA forms signed digitally online, UDI is mandatory.
You are right, Darren. Perfectly good.
Yeah. Sneha Munot, in fact, I found 3 people attending with Sneha Munot, so I just brought one here.
Yeah, Sneha has come.
Yeah. No, there are 3 there, and I brought
Did
only
you
one
just
person on
check,
the
Pankaj
panel.
bhai, whether that Sneha would like to come on screen or not?
Yeah, that's right. Because unless she comes there, she can't answer. So I'm just bringing all, and I'll just change it because there are 3 people who are attending with that name.
Yeah.
Okay.
So primarily, all 3 are same photos. Good.
Yeah. So let us hope if one is there.
One is there.
Achha, meanwhile, I'll go with some other questions also.
Yes.
And is bulk UDIN available for financial statement UDINs also?
No, right now bulk UDIN is applicable only for certificates because our system has not aligned to that level. But right now we have permitted on certificates only. Other category it will be added later.
Yeah, and
yes, Dev, sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, Pankaj bhai, because there are a couple of more important things which I would like to share, which and Ranjit bhai is there, we should actually have deliberation on. Is with regards to, one is people are thinking only FRNs, Ranjit bhai. If FRN is there, then only I need to generate UDIN. But the fact is, no, if you're running on a sole proprietary membership number, you have to put your membership number and generate your UDIN.
And in the FRN column, you put 0. That they will accept 0.
Done. So, Pankaj bhai, most crucial questions which we are going to ask now, crucial questions we would like to ask now, very, very important. I request each one to kindly focus on these questions, which is very important. Now, the question is with regards to prospective financial statement signature of a chartered accountant. Forget UDIN. UDIN is yes or no, we'll talk about it. But can Ranjit bhai, you have been a person who have redrafted the entire, most of the things in our code of ethics. That's the reason there are two important questions. One is with regards to prospective and one is with regards to provisional. We have had a detailed deliberation at length. Even in our webinars, we have talked about it. But I request you, it comes out from the horse's mouth, and just be specific with regard. First, we'll go with prospective financial statements, which is SAE 3400.
There, you are very much right. Most of our members are, in my opinion, are not aware of this standard. It is a 1982 standards, which talks about standards of audit and engagement 3400. Whatever prospective certificate or balance sheet you are signing, this standard says the if you go to our Chartered Accountant Act also, there is a Schedule 2 Part 1 Clause 3 also. A chartered accountant cannot certify any figure based on the percentage or in future outcome or any futuristic project. Chartered accountant is prohibited from signing this kind of figure. This is our professional misconduct as per Schedule 2 Part 1 Clause 3 also. But here this standard say you can sign the prospective statement financial figure based on percentage. But as per this standard says you can make a report, you can write down, you have compiled all these figure from these sources, but I am not certifying or watching the authenticity and correctness of this data. I am just compiling all this data with these sources and I am putting my signature, that's it. So this is the audit format given in this standard. And they are saying the chartered accountant can certify the prospective statement as per this standard. And this standard says I am not certifying the data, I am just compiling the data. So we have our own standard which permit us to complete the requirement of our banker and client, at the same time protecting ourselves also. What you can certify and what we cannot certify. So prospective as per futuristic figure is not permitted to be signed by CA, but as per this standard, they can certify with the disclaimer that is permitted, and in that case, UDI you can generate.
Yeah, now Ranjit bhai, the fact is what is happening. I have got certain calls from a couple of chartered accountants where, when they are complying with 3400, the banker is saying this report I don't want. You just certify and give me. So, bhai, please understand, for all the people, it is not so easy to just certify and give, because it will be a direct non-compliance of 3400. And we cannot actually hang ourselves because of our client requirement. You have to do it within the framework which has been defined by the ICAI in its guidelines or auditing standards, which is very clearly there. So thank you, Ranjit bhai, for making it specific with regards to the auditing standard, code of ethics. Yeah, please.
And there, in this case, suppose your report as per this standard banks are not accepting, then the Banking Regulation Act has no any mandate to get the prospective financial statement signed by a chartered accountant. They have no any Banking Regulation Act mandate. So if they insist, you ask them the banking regulation, then they will not ask you.
Perfect, sir. Again, one more request to all the friends. Please, if one chartered accountant is not signing, let us not sign otherwise. That is the most important part, which we would like to re-insist, re-emphasize, restate again and again. That is one point. Ranjit bhai, with regards to the provisional financial statements, provisional. Now that was prospective, which is futuristic. This is provisional, which is maybe. So I would like to know from you.
This provisional financial statement, again we have, our forefather has drafted a very good standard that is called SRS 4410, Standards of Related Service 4410, which says you can compile and collate all the financial data and you can certify all these data with the disclaimer you have just compiled all these figures and you are not watching the authenticity of this data because you have not audited these. These are the compilation process you have done it, as per these standards and giving a report. So this report as per standard SRS 4410 prospective report as per SAE 3400 are two very, very important standards which every chartered accountant must keep in mind while certifying these kind of certificates. If you comply these two standards, you are protecting yourself at the same time you are protecting the dignity of our fraternity both.
I think the continued question has come their way. In that only, Murali Krishna sir is asking, we are certifying provisional statements for purpose of buyback of shares of private limited company unaudited books. Under which head should I generate UDIN and which essay should be used for this certification? I think
it is a provisional certificate they are giving.
Yeah, it's a provisional financial statement they are certifying for buyback of shares.
So provisional financial statement, how they can certify?
Maybe unaudited books of accounts, unaudited balance sheet. That's what
once you put your signature in an unaudited balance sheet, it becomes audited. Right or wrong? Suppose some data is unaudited and you are putting your signature. So whether it is audited or unaudited now?
Yeah.
So, Ranjit bhai, I'll just add one point in this. What I think he's trying to ask Mr. Murali Krishna is that when you're talking about a provisional financial statement, which has been prepared by the management, which is unaudited. So technically, Pankaj bhai, you have to go back to 4410 only for provisional financial statement again. As per me, Ranjit bhai, what is happening is I prepare a financial statement which is in the process of assuming that these are all things which are completed and provisional as on a particular date has been taken for this thing, buyback of shares. So in that case, what will happen is you cannot, without doing an audit, you cannot, put your signature and pen. What Ranjit bhai is saying. But with regards to any other thing, you need to have lot of caveats which is attached in your report. That is one thing which you need to look into.
That is why I'm asking. Suppose you want to give a certificate of buyback based on the provisional balance sheet prepared by the management.
Yes.
So, do you rely those figures? Can you rely those figures based on that you want to give a certificate to buy back the share? If those are the unaudited figures prepared by the management, so on the same fact, you have to mention in your report also. You are giving this certificate based on the unaudited figure as per SRS 4410 only. I am not certifying the correctness of this data. So this disclaimer you have to give in that certificate of buyback. Then you are safe.
Perfectly right. And one more thing, Ranjit bhai, in this context only, Pankaj bhai, very important. Stock audits, whether you do it for management, whether you do it for bank, whether you do it for financial institution, whether you are doing for any regulator, for all purposes, please ensure that you are generating UDIN. It is very, very, very important. It's very important because today, Ranjit bhai, we cannot express certain things on the screen here. Might be informally we will have a discussion. But one request is basically any kind of stock audit, you have to generate a UDIN. That's it. Am I right, Ranjit bhai?
This aspect we have debated a lot in our institute table when UDIN was supposed to be introduced. So we have debated whether UDIN can be implemented on the internal audit management functions, which you are reporting to the management, why UDIN is required. So we have a standard in our Auditing and Assurance Board of India, AASB, which says if you as a practicing chartered accountant, in the capacity of a practicing CA, you are certifying some report and addressing to the management also. So whether the management can go to the ICAI disciplinary committee if that report happens to be false. We have raised this question. You have given a report as a practicing CA to a management and management has complained to the ICAI that this chartered accountant given us a false report. So if they can come to the ICAI and ICAI has the power to take disciplinary action against the chartered accountant, then it is your responsibility. Because whatever you are certifying as a practicing chartered accountant, I'm just making bold this line. As a practicing chartered accountant, if you are signing something, whether it is intended to the stakeholder, management, government, regulator, then you are owning that signature, and your responsibility cannot be side away, even if it is addressed to the management. So in that case also, UDI is mandatory. That was the outcome of the deliberation we happened in our SSB when we introduced this UDI. So taking cue from those deliberations, internal audit, concurrent audit, stock audit, any audit which you are reporting to the management as a practicing chartered accountant, then UDI is mandatory.
Thank you for extending that entire clarification, Ranjit Bhai. I still remember the deliberations which have happened, and this is coming to all our members in a capsule kind of form, and everyone is able to really, I think, hopefully they are appreciating the discussion what we are having. Over to you, Pankaj Bhai, you wanted to say something? Unmute.
Dixit Jain, it was he gave from other number. It was Dixit Jain.
Yes, sir.
So Dixit, can you unmute and talk about that post-dated UDI?
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
You're audible. If we can see you, then we'd love to do it on a Sunday morning. Don't worry about the T-shirt.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
So what's the issue is on 6th April, so erroneously I had mentioned it as 6th July and generated the UDIN. 6th July 2021 and the UDIN was successfully generated. So, I mean, we recognize the difference and we cancelled the UDIN, but the system is permitting a post-dated entry and that's how the UDIN could be generated. If I could have your personal mail IDs, I'll share the screenshot of it.
You can write down my email ID, RKA.
Just a second, sir.
It's very important for us, and any such
it's
feedbacks
a-
are most welcome.
It's a very news to me
Crucial.
also, and it's a system lapse. What happened? We have to see.
रंजीत भाई ये कुछ अपडेट के अंदर
मैं
गड़बड़ी
चैट
कर रहा
में
है।
डाल रहा हूँ अगर मेल
Yes, sir. You can just put your mail ID in the chat. I'll copy it and send you the screenshot.
So when you have put this 6th July, Akshit, Dikshit,
2 days back, sir.
2 days back.
I had to do it on 6th April. I had done it 6th July by mistake.
Okay. You send us the mail. We will get into the system today itself.
But Dixit, thank you very much for giving your input and being honest to whatever you have done, and really appreciate the thought you have shared with regards to cancelling the UDIN also. God bless you, because people like you are actually protecting this profession in true spirit. And any person on the screen who has any kind of such issues which have been noted, we request you to kindly do it, because it is our own interest we want to protect. It is a fraternity interest which we want to protect. Even Ranjit Bhai will agree. And today, I think his coming and you sharing your view has made a whole lot of difference. Ranjit Bhai, it is a very appreciable, thought.
And moreover, I must appreciate Dikshit for bringing this fact to us.
Correct.
So that we can correct ourselves.
Yes.
And
God bless you, Dixit.
RKA, you wanted to give the mail ID. I just put it.
RKA.icai@gmail.com.
RKA@gmail.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
This way I'm putting it in the chat also.
Sure, sir.
You can
I'll
just take it from there.
Yeah, I'll just drop in the email also to you.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dixit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your wish, you can be here also, not a problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm
You can
really
just-
sorry for the name. I don't know why the name is coming like that. There is some issue there. So
And
she's a
your
partner
phone,
in the
your
firm.
phone would have had that name. That's all.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
nothing wrong.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you, dear.
I'll
Thank
just
you.
take the other 3 questions which are there. One from Mr. PV Subramaniam.
Pankaj Bhai, take Dixit number also. Dixit, request you to kindly put your number to Pankaj Bhai. I would like to talk to you also.
Sure,
Right.
sir.
Thank you.
And Pankaj Bhai from Hyderabad branch, give a certificate of appreciation to him for the contribution made, which is a very big protection. I am not telling. It is actually a fact. He has done a biggest contribution to this entire process. So I think we should actually give him a certificate of appreciation from Hyderabad branch.
Thank you. I'll take care of that. And PV Subramaniam says, regarding MCA forms, what about CA signing as an RP under IBC?
In the case of RP or a RV, insolvency professional or registered valuer, we have said that if you have become RV or a IP because of your CA qualification, there are other qualifications are also entitled to become RV and IP. But if you have become RV and IP because of your chartered accountant and you are signing these reports of IP and RV, then UDIN is mandatory. Because what will happen, suppose you have given a report on IP and some disciplinary proceeding taken by IBBI on you. So we have our act say, if some regulator has initiated a discipline on the chartered account practice, then ICI is also entitled to initiate the same on our member. So you are subject to discipline on two places, IBBI and ICI. So that's why UDIN is mandatory.
Machar Rao, for you only. You
Yes,
are
sir.
all CA practicing, IBB, insolvency practicing, valuation practicing. So just on a lighter side.
Yes, sir. A lot of questions on this regard, sir. A lot of groups in RVs and IPs are asking us, and a very good clarification, Ranjit bhai. Thank you, sir.
Pankaj bhai, one more question I have.
I am avoiding the anonymous thing, but one question which has come through name, I definitely like to ask there way. Binod, sir, original UDIN generated at the time of tax audit. So if tax audit is revised and new UDIN is generated, do I need to revoke the original UDIN?
Suppose the tax audit has been revised and you have generated a new UDIN. So you are supposed to upload this new UDIN on the revised tax audit report to the department and to the client. So definitely that old UDIN you have to revoke. That
So it has to be.
You have to revoke it, but otherwise unnecessary this UDIN will continue in your name.
Right.
Sir, small clarification, Ranjit, sir. Whenever we are revoking the old one or cancelling the old one, can we need to mention the same one in a new report also?
That you are making this new UDIN because you have revoked the old one like this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same balance sheet or same certificate, because of some errors or something, we are revoking the old one and we are giving it new one. And after
Ranjit bhai, I have an opinion for that actually, if you allow me. We should not. Yeah, Ranjit bhai, though we should have the discussion in UDIN directorate, but this point is very valid. I think that has to come in our FAQ also. When it is a initial filing, which is an independent filing, then we are doing a revise. So now the both things are there with the department. What was actually done, what was revised. So technically both are being signed by same chartered accountant,
Yes,
but we should retain the old one as per me, because there is a revision which is happening and there should be a cross reference what was being signed in past. If it is a major deviation in income tax appeals and ITAT, there are many cases which have come where huge change has been happened. Now huge changes happened and ITAT has raised complaint on those chartered accountant to the institute, saying that why this huge amount of change which is coming. So when we are wanting, and we do not know what was being signed by past, whether it was by a right chartered accountant or a wrong chartered accountant. So to protect our chartered accountant in the true spirit, I think we should retain the old one, because this is having a numbers and there is a specification which is there, and revised one also should be there so that we can catch whether it is genuinely done or not.
So as far as institute is concerned, there is no any restriction or provision that you have to cancel it. If for the future reference, if you want to continue, there is no harm. But in our opinion, this old one is invalid. Once the new one has come, old one become invalid. But still, if you want to retain it, nobody is stopping you.
Why? Because tomorrow, the moment cancel old one, can the income tax department come back and say, hey, you're not, there's no tax rate report before due date. So you have the tax rate report only at the due date, after due date. So why should penalty cannot be levied?
No. The department cannot say like this, because once you have revised and giving a new UDIN, and moreover, the department is allowing you the revision for some clerical error. Not the entire report you can change it. That is not permitted. As far as my is concerned.
in cases in Hyderabad, I have certain cases very interesting, which I'll share with you offline. We'll discuss about it. But a very valid question to deliberate upon.
Okay.
Daya sir,
And,
can we write a note saying that due to this reason we are changing this, we are revoking UDIN, and these are the changes, and this is the old UDIN, and now we are generating this is a new UDIN. Can we put a note in the new certificate which we are going to give?
No, in the comment box itself,
No,
you can put
I-
it, right? Giving this
While
reference.
generating the new UDN, you can always mention
Mention
that
it.
the paragraph which you are saying, that option is there.
There.
You can write down, there is no problem.
Done, sir. Thank you, sir.
Done.
Pankaj, sir.
Thereby you can, do you have any remarks? Dixit has got few more points, which I think we can take it up on a person one-to-one basis with the email. Dixit, you can just write a mail and we'll do it. And I think Naresh bhai, it's almost 11:40. If you can just come up with, yeah.
I'll just have one or two questions, Pankaj bhai.
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
So that we can go to Naresh bhai after this. One is basically there is with a specific question with regards to editing UDIN. There is no concept of editing UDIN. It only can be revoked. It cannot be edited. In the initial stage, only before generating UDIN, it will ask for certain thing. Is it fine? And if you say yes, then you can generate. Once generated, you only have to revoke. There is no editing option left out. Right, Ranjit bhai? Though there are people who are facing certain difficulties, might be in a genuine hardship, but you can generate a fresh UDIN and you can mention in the comment box why you have revoked that and regenerated this.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Then I think more or less Pankaj bhai, he is already covered with regards to non-compliance of UDIN, which is again a reference to the council guidelines non-compliance, which is again required as per the directions which are being given by the council. So that makes whole lot of difference. Friends, the point today we are deliberating, if you see the entire process, if you listen to the entire thought process, it is only towards protecting our profession. It is not to regulate. It is not to regulate. We are not regulating. I think regulators are appreciating and ensuring that is becoming part of their entire discussion or might be the certification process, which I think we all have to be happy about. All those kind of people who have been certifying who are non-chartered accountants and actually claiming to be chartered accountants. This is the best thing which we have got. COVID Shield came later. UDIN Shield has come 2 years back. So let us appreciate this. And Ranjit bhai, I can tell you from my side, 2 years of learning experience with you on this COVID to ensure that we protect our profession has been the biggest privilege of my life in the entire process. Doing SSP undoubtedly was the biggest satisfaction because we transformed the entire institute. Today, 5 crore files have been moved. 4 lakh members are there, 10 lakh students are there, and 99% members and students have already come on SSP portal. But these are all intrinsic, internal. But today, the first protection which we are talking about and being part of this entire 2 years journey with you has been a great learning experience. I thank you very much for keeping me with you always and giving your experience of 2 years, second term, and giving me that guidance always in every aspect, not only with regards to that, but otherwise also. Over to you, Pankaj bhai. From my side, I've just wanted to thank Ranjit bhai.
Working of Covishield has maybe having some doubts, but UDIN Shield is different. So I think we can always keep our collars up. Naresh bhai, you wanted to ask a question. You can just first come with the question and give your remarks, post which Machar Rao sir can take over. Now that the chairman has come, I'll prefer to keep my mouth shut. Thank you.
So, Ranjit sir, I have a couple of questions for you. Also, thereby probably you can, both of you can address to this question. There are some questions coming up, sir, in terms of Union Bank of India is asking the concurrent auditors to certify the tax audit part of that branch audit. So they were asking whether as a concurrent auditor, can I sign a tax audit? So I said, this is a different assignment, that is a different assignment. You can't do both of them at the same point of time. So probably if you can suggest how the members should go about, then there will be safer part of the, because again, code of ethics will come. And since you are also, both of you are part of the DCT, you also know the consequences that happen there. So I thought probably you can share your views on that.
Sir, Ranjit bhai, there is, I'll just answer this, might be you can elaborate in your own style.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, Naresh bhai, concurrent audit is a role of an internal auditor. And if you are internal auditor, you cannot be a tax auditor.
Correct.
Answer is very simple.
Simple.
Over to you, Ranjit bhai.
Because this aspect is also again considered by the Code of Ethical Standard Board, because there are many branches below 20 crore who are insisting our concurrent auditor friends to certify LFRA also. There are some reports also. So now tax audit you are saying. So the institute has taken a call. Concurrent auditor cannot sign the tax audit report.
Correct.
So this is already a part of the code of ethics discussion. And as a chartered accountant, all are aware. Internal auditor cannot be the statutory auditor because both are the different audits. Even if they are sort of staff or whatever, the circumstances cannot permit us to deviate from our standards.
No, you're right, sir. But the members are getting appointment letters or calls from the regional office and asking them to do. So they were worried whether they should do, not do, and all those discussions keep happening.
Appointment letter cannot be given without their consent, sir.
You have to accept it. No, why are you accepting it? As
No.
simple
Point
as
is,
that.
no. The point they're saying is, if you don't accept, again they're linking it to the concurrent audit, whether you want renewal, something like
You
that.
accept it and
Let
be
it
ready
be
for
done.
the consequences. As simple as that.
That does not mean that I can sign anything.
So I told the same thing to them, but since both of you are in all those committees, so I thought I'll also request you
I'm
to
giving
address.
you another example. Yesterday, I received a call from an auditor appointed by the Indian Bank.
Ji.
And when this auditor, normally bank auditor does not take NOC from previous auditor, normally.
Correct.
But as per the regulation, they have to. So when he, for extra safety, he has written to the previous auditor. And he was the victim of the Allahabad Bank auditor who was not permitted to remain as an auditor for the next 4 years.
Oh.
Now he is denying.
Oh.
Like, you cannot take this assignment because I am the rightful 4-year auditor. They remove me in between. You cannot take it this assignment. This is the version of the previous auditor to the new auditor. Now he's in dilemma what to do.
No, letter to लिख दिया तो हो गया ना, sir.
Huh?
From our side, as a new appointed, the new auditor of the branch, my role will end once I submit the letter to him requesting to give me NOC. Do I need to wait for the reply to come? I don't need to wait for it.
There are 2-3 items while communicating with the previous auditor. This clause 8, part 1, schedule 1, everything is written in our code of ethics. So fees should not be pending. Communication with the previous auditor, all things are there. So
Correct.
accordingly, you have to take a call judicially.
And then again, I think same Union Bank, as I was talking, they also listed out saying that some 4-5 certificates to be signed by the concurrent auditor again. Like Jilani committee, all those certificates, they were asking the concurrent auditors to certify. Or separate UD numbers to given for each of them. Now, probably now you explained very clearly as to what they should do, what they should not do. This was broadly a couple of points which I wanted to share. And as Pankaj Bhai requested, so I thought I'll also take opportunity to thank both of you for coming up and sharing your rich experience in the SSP, UDIN, various standards. And in particular, I would like to thank Ranjit ji for linking up banking regulation, institute code, disciplinary, variety of things you have linked up, sir. I think it's very interesting. And I'm sure since you're also into code of ethics, if you can link up all those things and come up with some chart sort of a thing, wherein we say, you do this and you don't comply this is the consequence. Probably something like that, that will help members to understand where we go wrong and what is the consequence of it. Otherwise, you don't know the consequence, you only know the what you should do. So the consequence is that then what you should not do and how you should be careful is what I think that will help us. This is broadly a suggestion. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable day on a Sunday and coming up and addressing members in Hyderabad. We know we trouble Dayabai regularly. We don't have to say sorry to him, but definitely for you, Sunday we are disturbing you a lot. Thanks a lot, and I will now hand over to Macharao Chairman to
One thing before we conclude today, because chairman was not there. I think Ranjit bhai, अपन जो reality show देखते हैं ना, कल भी अपन रात में बात कर रहे थे, रात में 11 बजे. So in the reality show, there is one thing which happens. What was the best scene of the day? Rather, I think it was Dikshit's contribution to UDIN, and I think we all should appreciate and praise the kind of thoughtfulness which he's put in. And Chairman sir, I request you to kindly get a certificate of appreciation done at any cost. That is a value add which we can do to our members. Continue doing that. I think Ranjit bhai, I don't think it is a wrong approach. It's the right approach for our.
It's a very right approach, and we should encourage this kind of approach.
Yeah. So over to you. Thank you very much.
And on the lighter side, what Naresh Jelly was telling to Daya, ki Daya, they are disturbing Daya. Daya was telling me that whenever I don't get a call from the branch, I become restless. Because I want
That is the last year. Say wo chalu ho gaya.
No, we don't have any trouble, sir. He's so friendly. We trouble him any point of time. Maybe 11 to 6 is what probably we leave him. Otherwise, we'll trouble then also. No problem.
No, but one thing which I would like to tell,
unmute.
There is Pankaj bhai. One last thing. Vijay Totopalli, who's our member from Hyderabad, he's Ranjit bhai. You can just imagine, and I appreciate the kind of learning which our members demonstrate. He's actually not well. He was in ICU for continuously for his COVID effect, and even now he's at home on a complete bed rest. But he's watching today UDIN meeting. I think this entire UDIN meeting is for those kind of members who are really interested on their professional side. For people like Vijay Totopalli, people like Dikshit, and many senior members who have participated. This is which gives us a positive kick. That we are making it happen. We are creating that awareness among our members. We don't want our members to go away and then we call them. Let us protect from the day one and take it forward. So this I just wanted to tell you. So Machar, your program is actually been successful because of these 2-3 things.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. First of all, my apologies for both the Central Council members for disturbing you on Sunday. And that too in a very short time, sir, just within 3 days. Actually, I met Dayabai for other issue. But suddenly I got a call from one member in his office only. Immediately I requested Dayabai, I'm getting a lot of calls from the members regarding particularly UDIN. Then immediately he told me, why can't we speak with Ranjit sir and we do a program. So the entire concept and idea and organizing this program is Dayabai only. Thank you Dayabai. And sirs, we are very much grateful for you for your time and efforts, particularly on Sunday. An excellent presentation. It shows your involvement from the beginning of the idea and implementation and follow-up of all the UDIN concepts. And thank you so much, sir. And looking forward your continuous support for Hyderabad members and Hyderabad branch. Once again, we are very much thankful for accepting your invitation in any short period of time and sharing your valuable thoughts about UDIN. And as a token of thanks from Hyderabad branch, we request you to kindly accept our virtual certificate of appreciation, sir. Ranjit Singh, sir, it's our request you to accept our virtual certificate of appreciation. Pankaj sir, your dialogue, please.
How digitally we have progressed. That shows the branch commitment.
Yes,
and Ranjit bhai, I think even your charisma is so high that we have 210 people even now.
Yeah,
so
that's still after 2 years, people are interested in UDIN. That is remarkable.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Ram Kumar, can you please?
No. I'm doing.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Are you there, sir? It's a small certificate of appreciation. And
thank you.
Pankaj sir, I'm waiting for your dialogue after this certification, the presentation of certification. Yeah, I thank you.
Thank you very much.
The day lockdown is lifted completely and it is safe for Ranjit Bhai to travel. We'll invite you to Hyderabad and present all these hard copies to you duly framed. This
Along
is
with
what Machara wanted me to tell, sir.
Thank you, Pankaj sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I enjoyed a lot. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Daya.
The
Thank
great
you, sir. Thank you,
support.
Ranjit bhai.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
And,
very much
Ran-
for your contribution and time.
Ranjit sir, one more thing. The great support and great guidance from the Pankaj sir, really it's helped me a great
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, really.
And we have learned ABCDs from Pankaj sir, and he's a guru for us. Thank you, Pankaj sir. And I thank all the participants for your active participation, and your active participation will encourage us to organize more and more programs with the help of our Daya Bhai. Thank you, sir.
Someone was raising hand. If anything is there, just check.
Nay,
Ranjit
what
bhai.
happens there, why most of the people are raising hands thinking that it's an attendance thing.
Yes.
So I used to call them on to the stage, but they never want. So that's why I tell them, you raise the hand, you also write in chat, I want to talk. Then we can open them. Otherwise, it becomes a problem. Leave it.
Naresh sir, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Very much. So
I wanted to listen to Daya Bhai and Ranjit Bhai. I didn't want to miss them.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Ranjit sir.
Thank you very much.